Welcome back to another video. Gabby and Spence here with Core 4x4. Today we are back in the studio and we got the 3/4 ton Ram in the shop and it is a big beast. And today we're going to show you our new series of control arms for this truck. We've been working with Rock Jock on their 3-inch Johnny joint. For a truck this big, we've made a bigger arm with bigger joints, and this set we're going to show you is out of 7075 aluminum, so very heavy duty. We'll show you some comparison over at the table of just the difference in how massive these arms are compared to our normal aluminum series arms. Okay, over here at the table, we have our new aluminum series control arms for the 3/4 ton Ram trucks. Now, with the 3-inch Johnny joints, we went with a 2 1/4 7075 aluminum just to be able to get the 1.5 inch thread into these arms. And these things are massive. You got your lowers, your uppers, and your Panhard all for this truck. And just for a little comparison, this is our 1/2 ton version and then the 3/4 ton version. So, I mean, still a great series, still a great arm. This is our race series for the 1/2 ton. But like I said, for this big, heavy truck, we wanted to do something that was just bulletproof. This is the series. We're gonna go through install on this. The truck is leveled, but it's not lifted or anything. So we're gonna maintain all our same lengths and just bolt everything up and kind of show you how it goes. I did want to mention, we have always offered a steel version for this truck out of 1 3/4 DOM with the 2.5 inch Johnny joints. But for this version, the aluminum version, we've stepped up to Rock Jock's 3-inch Johnny joint, which is much bigger, much heavier duty. And on the aluminum version, it's a direct bolt in, as opposed to the steel version. We do send spacers to get the right fitment on the truck. So this is just another option for the 3/4 ton trucks that we offer. If you want to get the most out of your truck and you do a lot of heavy hauling or towing or off-roading or just want to beat it up, this is the set you want to start looking at. The bigger Johnny joints, the bigger arm, bigger everything, just to last longer and perform better. We are so excited to have this series. We're offering it for the 3/4 ton Ram, and we are also going to be doing a version for the Ram TRX. So if you have that truck, reach out. We will be getting them on the site soon, but for now, let's get them bolted up. So this is what we're going through today. We got the lower rear control arm, the upper rear control arm, and then we're also doing the track bar back here. Now this truck is bagged. It does all our hauling. It tows our fifth wheel and all the Jeeps everywhere. And the bushings are starting to crack a little bit. They're showing some wear. So we decided it's time for an upgrade and we're gonna get our parts on it. So this is, like I said in the intro, we're not changing lengths on this because the truck isn't really lifted. So we're just gonna match our stock lengths, bolt in, torque down. We're gonna mark our jam nuts and everything. We'll settle it out and eventually we'll come back and do a retorque. And we'll go through that because it is really important to torque everything properly, and even more important to come back and do the retorque after everything settles after a few hundred miles of driving. But we will paint mark everything so we can see if anything moves. And since we're not changing lengths on this install, we'll probably just do one arm at a time so this axle doesn't shift on us too much. This is the easiest way to do this install. Like I said, one arm at a time if you're not changing lengths. These are adjustable while they're on the truck, so you can still install them one arm at a time and then just adjust them after they're installed. You can also do this in your driveway on the ground. We're gonna have it in the air because it's easier to work on, easier to see. Pretty straightforward install, just unbolt and bolt in, torque everything, retorque when you come back. Don't break. Oh, that wasn't that bad. It is easier with the wheel off. Best way to set your arm length when you're matching lengths is just to set your adjustable arm on top of your factory. This is our factory upper that we just took off the truck. And just drop a bolt through and line it up. Now, one thing to watch for is you want to make sure your ball centers are straight up and down when you're doing this. So you can see here we're off a little bit, so we're going to have to adjust out. And we're just going to do that, adjust out until our bolt drops in. There we go. So that is the easiest way to set your length when you're not changing your length. And you can even do this when you are going to be changing your length because these are adjustable while installed on the truck. So it's a lot easier to install them at factory length, one arm at a time, just like this, and then do all your adjustments afterwards. If you are lifting this truck, there isn't a ton of adjustment that you need to do, but there is some. And like I said, it is going to be easier on the ground under the weight of the truck when you have everything installed to just adjust the arms after they're installed. Okay. I don't want to go like crazy with how the truck is. Got it. All right, so we got the arms in and bolted up. Those were pretty easy because, like I said, we did one arm at a time because nothing was shifting. There were still 3 arms holding the axle in place to keep it from moving on us. Now we're moving to the track bar. I am a little worried that we might shift the body left to right a little bit. So we're gonna pull it out. We're gonna match the length and try to bolt it in, but we'll also measure the length so we can just set it back to factory if it does shift on us. So we'll watch for that. But it's basically like the arms. We're just going to take it off, match the length, and bolt it in. And then we're going to go around, torque everything down, and mark it with a paint marker. All right, so on this axle side bolt, there is a, looks like your breather hose right here next to your nut tab. Be careful of that. That'll flip around and cut right through it if you're just impacting like I almost did. So we're either going to pull it out of the way or pull it off. But I did cut through my wires on the 1500. The same sort of thing, the nut tab just swinging around and hitting things. Yeah, see it shift. Shifted a little. While we're measuring this track bar for the 2500 here, I wanted to go over measuring a little bit because when we are talking about control arms, track bars, anything suspension, we always measure center of bolt to center of bolt. Now, if you're trying to hold the tape measure on center here and eyeball center here, that is like, it's the least accurate way to measure. So if you have the same end on either side, the best way is to go outside edge to inside edge. So this is measuring at exactly 35 7/8 because that is the exact same. If this diameter of this ball center is the same as this diameter, you can just go from this outside edge to the inside edge, and that's your same measurement as your center to center. So when measuring control arms, track bars, anything like that, that's an easy trick to make a quick and simple, accurate measurement outside edge to inside edge here. Now, if you're measuring while the track bar or control arm is bolted on the truck. You can also do it with your bolts. On a hex head, you got to be a little careful with the corners sticking out. But if you have a flat edge and you go outside edge of your bolt to inside of it, edge of your bolt, instead of eyeballing center, outside edge to inside edge is the exact same thing as center on center. All right, so you can see this is the exact same length as factory, but our axle did shift a little bit when we took this track bar off. And that's why we pulled our measurement, because we're just gonna adjust this out to line up, just like that, to make it easy. And then we'll just suck it back in to that 35 7/8 and pull our axle over just by doing this. So all I'm doing here is I'm squaring up the flats so I can show you, like I did on the table, how you can measure from outside of your bolt, the inside of the same flat. They just got to line up the same so you get an accurate measurement. Now we're a little long, so we're still going to adjust in a little bit. And it actually went a little short there. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. This way. That's spot on. And that's what's so nice about having the double threaded on these parts, is that you can do all your fine adjustments right here in the air. And we're going to get to torquing everything down. You want to mention these do have independent ball centers, so torquing them down in the air is completely fine. They have a free-floating ball center, so they're not going to have any binding or anything if you torque them in the air. So we're going to do all our torquing in the air, and then we'll set it back down on the ground. We're going to get to torquing everything. Now, the bolts on this rear track bar are 140 foot-pounds. The jam nuts on this one are 250 foot-pounds. And when we move to the arms, the torque values get a little higher. You're 240 on all the bolts, and the jam nuts, they're like 600. So they're like as tight as you can get them. And then we're gonna do that settling period we talked about where we drive it for a few hundred miles, and then we're gonna re-torque them. Now, if we do that properly, they will never move on you, and they will be completely seated. And that's the most important part, is to do your settling period and your re-torque on all your suspension parts. So we'll torque the track bar bolts again to 140 foot-pounds. The track bar jam nuts to 250 foot-pounds, the arm bolts to 240 foot-pounds, and the arm jam nuts as tight as we can possibly get them. They're like I said, they're like a 600 foot-pound torque value. Like, it's crazy. But it's about getting them seated, getting them settled, and making sure they're actually locked down in place. So we don't have a crow's foot or a torque wrench big enough for these jam nuts and these arms. So I went to Harbor Freight and I got these giant crescent wrenches, and we found this pipe. So we're gonna give it a go. We're just getting them as tight as we can. And like I said, we're gonna paint mark them, re-torque them, but we really just need to get as tight as we possibly can on these things. There's no over torquing these. You can't do it. Let's give it a try. This isn't even fair.
No.
You want to trade?
No.
I think this will help. It's not.
You got it.
Oh, jeez. I'm on it enough.
Okay.
Stay there. Okay. That feels like 600. Maybe not. All right, so that wraps it up for this video. Thanks for watching. We did get all the arms in, the track bar in, and we torqued these massive 1.5-inch jam nuts down. We did need some Harbor Freight crescent wrenches and a big cheater bar. Got them as tight as we could. They're pretty tight. We are going to check them after our first few hundred miles and see if they've moved and shifted, and we'll throw the wrench back on them again just to make sure everything is settled and seated. Again, that is the most important thing to an adjustable arm, is seating your jam nuts and keeping them tight. Other than that, these look awesome. It's a fantastic arm. Thank you again for watching the video. If you have any questions, please reach out to our sales team. Or if you like the video, please like and subscribe. That really helps us out. And in the next video, while we have the truck in the studio, we will be doing the front track bar, so stay tuned for that.